Welcome back to a very tight 10-pin bowling tournament. Team Europe just 1 point behind in this year's Weber Cup. They've won the first match of the evening session. It's now time for singles all evening here on Saturday night at the Metrodome. Let's hand over to your commentators. It's Cass Edwards and Nick Halling, joined by Guy Kaminski.
Yes, thank you, Tony. I wonder if you two have had a falling out. Guy, nice to see you up here, and I'm going to put you on the spot because while we've been building this one up, you have just whispered in my ear, if these two both play to the best of their ability, Kyle Troup wins this. Why do you say that?
Well, I'm not one to sit on the fence. Always like to give my opinion, even when not asked, but yeah, I do like Kyle's chances here, just mainly because he's been the best player for USA this year, and he was the best player for them last year. He just loves the environment, yeah. And it's going to be interesting to watch how they're going to attack this lane pattern. You know, we've changed the lane pattern from the first two sessions, so this is really in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, as you saw his average going into this one, 274, and he starts off, kicked out the 10-pin there. That wasn't a messenger, that was a wrecking ball that came in from somewhere to take that 10.
Yeah, absolutely blasted it out the pit, didn't it? Great looking shot, fantastic strike to start with. Kyle Troup, only in his second Weber Cup, but he's made a name for himself already on this lane.
I mean, how these modern day players, guys, it just, I mean, who would have thought a few years ago we'd be seeing 600 RPM going down the lane? It looks like he's throwing hand grenades down there.
Yeah, really, it's changed so much in the last 10 years or so, hasn't it? It's incredible. Stu Williams averaging a pretty respectable 239.5 thus far. Doesn't get the same revs, doesn't throw the ball quite as hard, but it's where you land it, and that was just out of the pocket.
Yeah, almost crossed the headpin there, a bit tight down the middle of the lane. Didn't give it any width at all. He's left the 6 and the 10 pin. So he's going to bring out his harder spare ball and throw it very straight at these. Just didn't get the width, and it's broken early. This is the second match on this lane condition. We'll be playing 3 matches before we get the next redress.
Safely spared.
I mean, interesting to see there, Cassman, is that Stewie is throwing 475 RPM, nothing wrong with that. Got some interesting stats here from Specto that I've been looking at that I wanted to notice. I think it was going to be key with this lane pattern is that the Americans really like to play inside the lane. The first one bowled by Kyle, he was at the 8th board at his break point, and then Stuart there was interesting enough at the 9th board, so a little bit inside him. But the difficulty for him is he can't throw the same ball speed as Kyle, so I don't actually quite know what the tactics Stuart's going to use.
Now look at that. Now that was a strike all the way, but sometimes those corner pins just stick around, and for some reason that 7 didn't want to know.
Yeah, he sent quite a lot of garbage pins across to it, but they just fell down all around it, and as you say, the 7 stood up, so it can be a spare. Not also forgetting that the game previous to this, we had 8 guys, or 7 guys, playing a Baker match all down the right-hand side, where these 2 guys are playing. So there may well be quite a bit of corruption down there, and the oil will be transitioning. So the bowlers are going to have to make adjustments when they can see that difference in the lane.
Yeah, spot on, Cass. That transition's a difficult thing, and we often see the scores drop down slightly during the transition, and then normally scores would increase as the lane opens up after that, provided the guys attack the lane the right way. You know, sometimes the guys can get 2 left. I thought in the day session today, the guys got 2 left too early, and you saw how difficult the lane started to look in the later games in the day session.
Yeah, 2 or 3 of the players really didn't perform at their best this afternoon, but that was then. This is now. Here's Williams looking to just get back on strike, take it all 10.
There's no doubting who the crowd are supporting. The roof nearly went off there. Unbelievable from the guys there. They are so behind Europe here, because I think they know that they need to help the boys out here.
And I know it's obvious to say, Guy, but they're not actually playing against one another. They're playing the lane. They want to overcome the lane and any problems it has. And if they're going to overcome the lane, shoot 260 or 270, that's when they should be winners.
Exactly right. As you watch Kyle here,
Well, is it going to go? Is it going to go? No, it's not. Well, it was the 7 that stood up last time. This time it's the 10.
And that's the thing that happens, guys, is that we often say the guys didn't really play their best. The reality is that what the people at home can't see is what oil conditional pattern is out there. Some are high scoring and some are low scoring, so it's not necessarily they aren't playing well. I know we didn't see some great bowling later on this afternoon, but sometimes the lane becomes difficult and it's really hard to strike. And then there's a premium on spares, and that can be equally exciting watching a close, low-scoring game as we saw the first game of Baker, just a great high-scoring match.
You know, you're absolutely right, and Carl was pretty unfortunate there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the first time he's had back-to-back spares in this Weber Cup, Kyle Troup? I mean, he's not used to this. Well, he's been a machine.
I was just going to say, I couldn't say either yes or no, but it may well be the case. He's certainly been a strike machine.
An opportunity here for Stu to try and capitalise on that 9 from Carl.
And while Williams gets ready to bowl, Troup is in deep conversation with his captain. Let's see what Williams can do. He takes all 10. Well, that's great news. But there are some concerns in the American camp. Kyle Troup spent a long time talking to Sean Rash while all that was going on. This is the first time we've seen him under any kind of pressure at all. Pressure. A pair of 9 spares. I mean, that just sums up the kind of level he's been at.
You say that, Nick, but look at the difference in the maximum scores. That's what 2 spares can do. Assuming that they all strike out.
Well, let's see if that little conversation that he had with Sean Rash leads to an adjustment which will get him back on strike. 2 9 spares, and it's another 9 spare coming up, but he takes the 2 corner pins out, if that's any consolation. But this is unexpected from Troup.
Yeah, so I really think the key to this match right now is in ball speed. What essentially they're trying to do, because as Cass said, the lane's transitioning, so the oil's coming off the lane and the ball's going to naturally want to turn more into the headpin. So the guys are moving their feet to the left and trying to keep it in the oil and float it out to the right. But what's happening is Kyle's ball speed is not allowing that ball to pick up. So it's just not reading enough lane to make the angle back and hit the pocket flush. So he's coming in fractionally behind the headpin. So either essentially a ball speed change for him, or maybe his feet back a bit to the right.
What changes would you make if you were Stuart Williams, if any?
Well, no, he's got it absolutely perfect, but as you know, the lane's changing every time the ball goes down there. There's a very minuscule change, and he seems to be on it right now. His ball speed is matching up beautifully to this lane pattern.
Yeah, working on 2 strikes in a row, looking for the 3rd.
Well, he's really got to make hay here while this man is struggling. Because 3 9 spares. That's opened the door a little bit here for Stu Williams. And he is walking right through that open door.
And now we're seeing the best of Stuart Williams. This is what he absolutely loves, and he's done year after year. In the match play environment, he is one of the strongest competitors you'll ever play against.
When he gets the bit between his teeth and gets just in front, which he has done, yeah, there is no stopping him. There's no tougher opponent in the world. Having said that, this man's been having a strike fest all tournament. It's just at 3 spares in a row of just putting behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Well, he's again made an adjustment, and he only just caught the headpin there. You know, that wasn't a bad luck 9 spare. He only just caught the headpin. This is not getting better for Kyle Troup. It's starting to degenerate, if anything. Look at this. Look how thin he was on the headpin there.
Yeah, pretty high speed as well by the look of it. Didn't give it time to snap up in behind the headpin into the 1-3 pocket.
I mean, he may even have got the strike there, but he would have known that's the worst ball he's bowled. So it's 4 in a row.
It's a game of small margins, Nick. He hasn't really missed the pocket too much. It's just a fraction of an adjustment, and then he'll be able to strike. But unfortunately, in this one-game match, you just run out of time so quickly. All the guys have been saying on the lane that I just can't believe how quickly the game comes to the end.
Look, he's back in conversation.
We never saw this last year, Nick, and you weren't with us, but I promise you, we never saw. The guys looked isolated on the lanes last year. Here, there's a much tighter unit. They're really trying to help each other out, and it's made such a difference.
Well, they've obviously learned from their mistakes. I mean, if someone's struggling, you can't be left just to sit and wallow in it. You need your teammates to help you out. Whether it's a pat on the back or a boot on the backside, whatever it is, but you're part of a team. Now, Williams just has to check there. Now, that necessarily wasn't somebody moving. I heard Martin Larsson earlier saying there's a lot of lights just moving around this arena, and sometimes these lights come in and just dazzle you at an inopportune time. Whatever, Williams did not feel he was ready to bowl there.
I mean, I know he's sorry, Cass, but I know he. But look how he slowed the game down. Everything's in his favour. He wants Carl to sit there and think about what's going on for as long as possible. This is brilliant match play tactics right here.
That is a very, very good point. He has slowed it right down, and that's allowing Troup just to sit and think about what's going on. If he can just keep striking. There goes another one. He's done it again. Well, it's 4 spares for Troup and 4 strikes for Williams.
I hate to say it, but Carl is sitting and stewing on his own.
Classic Cash. And just looking at the Specto stats here, they're both bowling in the exact same part of the lane. They're both at 7 board, 8 board, but the only difference really is the ball speed. That Carl's getting it down the lane. It's just not picking up and getting back into the pocket, but mainly down to ball speed. But let's see if he makes any change on this ball. I'll give you guys the stats.
Yeah, he's got to make a change here because that last ball barely touched the head pin. Now that was better, and he's still, though, left another single pin. I mean, this must be driving him mad.
Yeah, but interesting enough, he made a ball change there. So he recognized that it wasn't going well, so he made a ball change. This is actually the ball he used early on. So, you know, it just basically hooked a little bit too much on him, so maybe he needs to move fractionally, but I do like that ball as a better choice compared to the alpha crux that he was using early on.
In the context of the big picture, the money man for both these teams is the 2-ball bowler, Troup for the Americans, and Jesper Svensson for Europe. Well, Svensson was shot down by Troup in the afternoon session, but now Troup looks like he's going to be tripped up by Stu Williams. And this will be a huge win for Williams if he can just hold it all together here.
Yeah, I think Carl changed balls here. He's looking for a little bit more angle at the back of the lane to try and square up to the pocket because he's becoming behind the headpin. But Stewart just needs more of the same. Can he keep it going?
Yeah, he changes nothing. I think this is out of sight already.
It's certainly not very far away from it, as you can see on the scores, but Stu is looking absolutely great. 5 strikes in a row at 30 pins a time.
Yeah, we're Saturday night session now. We're getting to the business end, you know, and this is where the big players really step up to the plate. And Stuart's been such a rock for these guys over the years. And he doesn't give you chances when he gets, you know, when he gets on top. He never ever, you know, lets you get out. It's amazing.
Well, if he's going to make any kind of move, it really is now or never. We're in frame 7, and Troup's got to get himself sorted out, and that's that. That'll do it. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse for him. Everybody is going to have a rough one at this Weber Cup. There's no doubt about it. This is Kyle Troup. Remember, he came in averaging over 270. That was never going to hold up over the course of the weekend. But this has been a real serious breakdown for the man from North Carolina.
Well, he made the ball change at the previous frame, and as Guy was saying, he just got too much snap in the back end, which took him high on the headpin. That one reacted again exactly the same, but it went straight through the nose, left the 4-6 split, and that's going to cost them the match, I'm afraid.
Well, going into this, we had barely seen a spare from Troup, and we hadn't seen an open frame at all. Now we've seen a bunch of spares and his first open frame.
Well, he's gone 6 frames without a strike.
Well, I think if Stewart strikes here, that's the end of the game, and I think he will let Carl know all about it.
Well, first he's got to make sure his part of the bargain is done. Oh, he got out of the pocket, and now he's going to leave an open one. He won't be letting anybody know about anything after that shot.
Maybe just a little bit slow on speed.
Exactly right, Kev, spot on. It was just 1 mile an hour slower than the previous deliveries, but it was accurate, but just ball picked up due to a loss of speed there. Kev, spot on.
Yep, 4-6-7 split, and we'll take just 2.
He's still in good shape though, because both of them have left the 7th open.
Yeah, nothing lost there really. Nothing gained, nothing lost.
I still think Stu would wanted to have struck there and just give them a bit of, because Carl did let Jesper know all about it when he beat Jesper. So I think the Europeans want to return the favour to Carl.
Well, if whatever happens with Troup, if Williams gets 2 strikes out of these remaining 3 frames, he wins. So the ball is firmly in his court. But Troup, as I've said before, there is no such thing as a wasted ball. You're always going to be testing, checking, changing. And finally, he is back on strike.
And we saw there, Nick, that he changed ball back to what he was using. Didn't like that reaction he was getting from the red ball. But this is what happens in a short format for a point, is that the pressure makes you you're chasing strikes all the time. You can't afford to be behind. And that's the beauty and makes it so much fun to watch.
And also, if you're struggling with one ball, you really can't afford to hang around, oh, I'll just give it one more shot, one more frame. You've got to make that change.
Well, that's exactly it. But sometimes you make the change too soon.
Well, 9 spares okay. He's got to make sure he does clean this up. But it does leave a glimmer of a chance here for Troup.
Yeah, he's just got to stay clean. Wasn't a bad shot. Leaves a 4-pin standing. Should be a straightforward spare for Stewart.
Yeah, Stu's in the position now where spares are completely...
Oh, he hasn't got it though. He's missed it. That's massive.
Oops, somebody shouted from the crowd, and yeah, Stewart will be kicking himself.
I'm actually at a loss for words, because that is a major mistake. I mean, he's got room to play with, but if Stewart loses this game, I don't think he'll forgive himself.
And I'll tell you how unexpected this was. Guy Kaminsky was looking at us rather than the delivery, because that was automatic. That was a formality. He makes that shot 999 times out of 1,000.
I mean,
it's only the second 9 miss we've seen in the whole tournament so far, and he really will be kicking himself.
And it wasn't like he was under any pressure. That's a lack of concentration almost. Maybe almost he didn't pay any attention either, Nick.
I tell you, he'll be sweating a lot if this is a strike. You can bet it is from Troup. He'll be back in on it here. Look at this. He's got a chance here. And what should have been job done for Stu Williams is suddenly hanging on by his fingernails now.
Well, all of a sudden, this next frame is a hell of a important for Stu. Any spare is good enough, but a strike would be ideal right now.
He can't afford a split, that is for sure. Now Troup is daring to dream here, because Williams has gone off the boil badly. Back-to-back open frames, and one of them a complete mental breakdown. Oh, how he needed that. He's got himself out of the hole.
Oh boy, did he need that. Because if Carl Troup struck on the last frame and Stu Williams had 2 9 spares, we would have had a tie.
Well, Stu really, I mean, he was talking to the American teammate sitting in the back of the lane. That's who he was shouting at there. He wasn't actually referring to Carl at all, but there's obviously a bit of talk, bit of banter happening in the background, asking if Stu was going to crack, but he answered that question. But it's not over yet. There's still work to be done if Carl can strike here.
Well, if he does strike, Williams can still win it with 9. Let's see if Troup's going to make him do some work. Yes, he is.
I mean, huge credit to Carl. Yeah, he didn't go away.
No.
He hung in there. And you know what? Make your opposition win it. Don't give it away.
Absolutely. He has come off that 9 spare fest, then the open. He's wrapped up with a turkey 3 in a row, and he's forcing Williams to do something. Williams needs 9.
Yeah, a 9 miss will make a tie, so he'd have to convert the spare if he gets a 9. Anything less than 9, he will have to spare to win. Obviously, a strike is game over stuff. So a 9 is potentially a draw, or if he spares it, a result. If it's an 8, it must be a spare.
renders all the mathematics completely irrelevant. Well, we had some ups and downs in that one, didn't we? Kyle Troup, who went 6 frames without a strike, suddenly made it interesting because Stuart Williams left back-to-back open frames, but Williams showed his grit and his toughness and finished with a double. And that, in many ways, is a huge bonus point for Team Europe. Troup was the money man for the Americans, but Stu Williams has levelled this race to 19 up at 8 apiece. What a terrific Weber Cup we're enjoying.